Welcome, welcome. This is yet another game cast by Gwin and Rohans for Team Lzuruha. We are here with Shinya and one Cruncher who is actually now in Complexity, so Complexity Cruncher. This was done before he had made that swap over. And this will be a Protoss versus Protoss. Go ahead and talk a little bit about Backwater Gulch for us, Rohans.
It's not one of my favorite maps. It's got such a weird natural, the way that it splits and kind of like a fork. It's very close to the ramp on one side, and then it's like very wide on the other side with the destructible rocks. This matchup, I don't think it's going to play that big of a difference, just because this matchup is so one-dimensional, I guess you could say. It really doesn't matter if you have a small choke. It doesn't matter what's below that choke. The strategies in Protoss versus Protoss are just so one-dimensional. There's like 3 or 4 options that are popular right now, and that's what we pretty much see throughout the community, and all the way from the bottom of bronze probably to the top at the pro level.
Certainly, and then I'm assuming you were referring, of course, to the 4 Warp Gate Rush. And then I guess 3-gate Robo has gained some popularity recently, but 4-gate still, a very difficult option to deal with. We've seen some interesting cannon cheeses out of some pro players and some pro matches, but it doesn't look like we're going to see anything like that, as we do just have 2 gateways in production, as well as a scouting probe moving out from Cruncher, and gases going down for both players. So it looks like mirror builds almost at the moment.
Yeah, and this is expected. It's pretty standard at this point. You got simulators. You're going to have some gas. What we'll see very soon is if one player opts to take a second simulator, that will usually be a telltale to, okay, they might be going Blind Phoenix, or they may be going, as you mentioned, 3-gate Robo play, which is very, very solid. And I do like the fact that Shin delayed his scouting. I do not believe this is the one matchup for Protoss where you really don't need to get that probe out as quickly as you would in the other ones, and it really gives you kind of an economic lead. One little probe can actually make a big difference early game.
I certainly agree, definitely. And it looks like Shin, go ahead and rallying through the base, checking out both players, saving up that chrono boost. Looks like Complexity Cruncher has one more saved, gonna get that warp gate out a little bit faster, or maybe just chrono out his first unit from that gateway. Looks like Shinya opting not to chrono out that first stalker, instead just chronoing his warp gate. So if this stays correct, we should see warp gate finish at the same time for both players, and Cruncher is just gonna get that first stalker out a tiny bit faster.
Absolutely, and now that the probe has left his base, he may drop down a second gas. We will tell. That'll be the telltale of what he's going to do here. And Shin is actually going to throw down 3 more gateways, so he will be 4-gating. Very strong. We'll see how Cruncher responds to this. Throwing down 2 additional gates, and he may be throwing down a 3rd
4th gate. So we do have 4 gates down for both players. Shinya's gate's just a little bit sooner. Did get a couple more probes out, I believe. Both at 26 food, waiting for those to finish. And oh, if this probe gets in from Cruncher, he will see everything. But no, I do not think he saw the 4th gates there.
Yeah, looking at his vision, he sees 3 gates, so he doesn't know the 4th one's there, and he didn't see the assimilator either. So pretty much a telltale. Both players are stopping at around 20 to 22 probes. That usually means. Oh, and we actually have a Twilight Council going down.
I was just noticing that and saying this is, a very... I really like this play. Getting the 4th gates, getting the Twilight Council up. We see 3 gates finishing for Cruncher, 4th gate out to finish and get that Warp Gate. And, Shinya matching him with that Twilight Council. A great transitioning move. I just hope it doesn't put him too far behind at this time to be able to hold off this type of aggression from Cruncher, which undoubtedly is coming.
Yeah, and his was much more delayed. Shinya is actually, if he gets Blink going right now, he's going to have it sooner, which will be a big deal. And he did get a couple extra probes for that gas. So we are definitely going to be seeing some Blink Stalkers, I would believe. It's not in production yet, but I would imagine it to start very, very soon here.
Certainly, and we see a little bit of a push up by Cruncher, and he's just regrouping a little bit and probably going to push again. Shinya does start Blink, or I guess Cruncher actually started Blink before Shinya. Not sure if Shinya opting for the Dark Shrine. Look at that, a Dark Templar opening. Definitely a fan of that kind of play.
And this can be risky. If Cruncher keeps putting on pressure and does a good job kiting, he's getting outnumbered here, having to retreat, but he's picking off a couple Zealots. Definitely he's going to need to fall back here. I'm not exactly sure.
I think this move out by ShinYa was a mistake, losing 2 of those Stalkers to Cruncher, and those Zealots just getting kited for hours.
Yeah, he really needs to try to pick off those 2 hurt Stalkers. That's actually a really big deal right now. If he can do that, this will change the tides.
Looks like Cruncher, you know, with excellent focus firing on that Stalker, goes in ahead and takes it out, and then just goes and pulls back. Oh, no, looks like he's turning around, just trying to wait for those shields to recharge a little bit.
Yeah, and Cruncher's got to know that something's up, because at this stage of the game, that's a lot of Zealots. Usually you'll see a lot more Stalker-based army with Protoss, so he knows that he's definitely spinning his gas somewhere else, whether it's, you know, some type of, obviously the general thing would be, okay, he's probably going DTs. So I'm kind of curious to see how he responds. He actually
does
throw a
see the DT trying as he blinks in with that Stalker. You know, a great move for him, but a Dark Templar out on the field now. Cruncher is going to be forced to retreat at this point, as the Dark Templar gives him complete map control until, you know, we do get a robotic out from Cruncher. No robotics on the way yet, though, just that Forge.
Yeah, he's going to be stuck at the Forge, and that's really going to give Shin map control, and he's probably going to be able to throw down an expansion very safely now that he has that. Cruncher's pretty much going to have to sit here with this sentry, keep his eyes out until he can get a cannon up. He does drop a robo down now, but it's nowhere near going to be up in time by the time this DT gets here.
And a 6 food lead for ShinYa. He does pause that DT there, and is going to now try and walk up, see if he can get it. Ooh. You know, he's going to get denied by that force field, but you know what? Cruncher cannot force field that ramp forever.
Yeah, and his cannon placement's kind of awkward. I mean, I guess it's cool to protect your mineral line, but this last one here, I guess he really wants to get that out, maybe to poke a DT if one DT pokes through, and his Robo Bay is about to complete, so we'll have an observer out very quickly, probably chrono boosted.
Certainly, and that'll definitely make it safe. But this this move has, of course, you know, secured ShinYa a probable expansion, and it looks like we are seeing a follow-up with Zealot leg speed. You know, we saw him do this in another game, and it was very effective, getting the +1, getting the Zealot leg speed, expanding, and that DT opening definitely gives him the space and the map control he needs to do that against a forward-getting player like Cruncher.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen him drop that expo maybe a little bit sooner, but the timing on it's pretty good, and those Zealots are going to be a force to be reckoned with once they get that leg upgrade.
Certainly, and leg upgrade being chrono boosted, that is a lot of Zealots with +1. Zealots, of course, do a ton of damage, you know, to Stalkers if they can catch them, and with Zealot leg speed, they definitely can.
Absolutely. We do have an observer coming in from Cruncher as we speak, so he's going to see that Shin's threw a Nexus down, and he's going to know at this point that he is behind. Kind of curious to see how he responds here. He's actually getting a Colossus out now, so
that is a pretty fast one-base Colossus. He has cut production from some of those gateways to get those Colossus out. Skipping extended thermal lance, you know, because he is not in a Colossus versus Colossus battle, probably does not need it. But ooh, Zealot leg speed has finished, and we are going to see a little poke out here by ShinYa. I'm not sure if this is going to end up being a full-out push, though.
Yeah, this area that he's about to fight in can really be hindered with some good force field use by Cruncher. Cruncher can make his army.
By ShinYa. Some force fields going down. You know, these Zealots, of course, doing so much damage though from ShinYa, and that one Dark Templar in the mix hits purchased so hard. Force field on the ramp forces him to pull back.
Yeah, it was a nice little engagement. He may have lost a couple Zealots, a couple Stalkers, but the important thing is he has an expansion up, and he's still denying Cruncher from getting one up. So I'd say that was definitely a nice little attack, keep him on his heels a little bit.
Certainly, when you see +2 on the way as well as Blink, you know, that observer, the first time it poked into the base, did not see anything researching at that Twilight Council, so it's probably he did not know that Zealot leg speed was finished.
Yeah, and Blink is a very good response. He's going to need it to deal with these Colossus, especially when they get their numbers up a little bit. We do have 2 on the map right now, and I believe we do have a third one just about halfway done. And he's going to need to really position himself well in Blink and try to focus down these Colossus, which can be sometimes easier said than done, I suppose.
I will say though, Cruncher still sitting on one base, almost mined out in that main, whereas Shinya on the two base with much better saturation and a bigger army as well. The supply lead, just a few here, but those upgrades from Shinya as well as that expansion means that he can reinforce more quickly if he does lose units.
Yeah, I think what we're probably going to be seeing from Cruncher here is once he gets his 4th Colossus up, he's pretty much going to be forced to go all in. And it can be a really scary army. It's the kind of army that can, even if you're behind, win you a game. So we'll have to see how this plays out. He is moving out now. He is very close in supply. So once this 4th Colossus does come out, like I said, I believe we're going to see a push from Cruncher towards Shinya.
I believe you are right, but that is a lot of Stalkers, and now they have Blink and a lot of Zealots as well. More gates being added on for Shinya. I believe this takes him up to 5 gates with 2 more in production. About to finish as well, so he'll be able to get those gates up, plus 1 armor on the way, but we do have that 4 Colossus push coming out from Cruncher.
Yeah, really good spread by Shinya too. You don't want to bunch up your units in a ball against Colossus, and we do have the Colossus poking up, doing some good damage. He's going to have to fall back.
Taking out those destructible rocks, giving another, entrance into that area, and this is what we were talking about, earlier in the match with how awkward this this natural and this third positioning wise are.
Yeah, it's with some good sentry use here, he can really limit the Zealot's mobility, and in these tight quarters, you have to favor the Colossus army. Here we do.
And a blink in for the engagement. The blink, target firing those Colossus. This actually does not look like it's going as well as it could for Shinya. A lot of the Zealots getting zoned by the force fields, but now that the Zealots for Cruncher are done, all he's left with is Stalkers and some Colossi. And I think being this close to the base and being able to reinforce Shinya will be able to clean this up.
Yeah, Cruncher unfortunately got left with his pants down there. He didn't have enough to reinforce his army, and there is the GG.
Certainly, and we do see the GG down from Cruncher. As mentioned, sitting on one base makes that absolutely, so difficult. You don't have the economic follow-through, and at that point in the game, Cruncher almost mined out in his main, was definitely all in versus Shinya.
Yeah, he just didn't have the gateway units at the end there to really help those Colossus. Had he had maybe 5 to 6 more gateway units, it could have turned the other way, but in the end, I think the expansion was just too much with 6 gateways, and fully upgraded blink and charge lots are very powerful.
At 2-2 even, doing a ton of damage to the unupgraded, units of Cruncher. And I think that is going to wrap it up for us in this game. Look for us again, of course, on Lzuruha Gaming. This is Gwin and Rohans signing out.
Thanks for tuning in. More to come, guys.